Well, she's a great friend of this show and a hero of last year and of the years to come. Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa Price, great to see you as always. Happy New Year. Happy Australia Day. We've got our flag here. You're in the right place there. How are you, Jacinta? And how will you be Hey! Well done, Jacinta. Congratulations on the great success of The Voice last year. That was terrific. That was common sense. You were a hero. I don't need to tell you that. How are you celebrating Australia Day, Jacinta?
Oh, look, first of all, happy 2024. I feel it's going to be a great year ahead. Look, I will be on the road. I won't be amongst crowds of people, but I will be, well, in the lead up to Australia Day, I will be. But on the day itself, I will very likely be on the road between Broken Hill and Coober Pedy with my best mate, my husband, by my side. And we've just been, driving around the country and really taking in what it is we have here in this beautiful part of the world that is Australia. And I think that's, we are so lucky. We are spoilt in this country. But I'll be appreciating what it is we have from the outback, from the road, which is what I love to do, get out on that road.
Now, Jacinta, when you get back to work, I'll just tell you, one of the things that I'm hoping you will be looking at is auditing all this expenditure on Indigenous affairs. Obviously, some of it is necessary, but I was sent 270 pages of grants totaling hundreds of millions of dollars of going to all sorts of extraordinary things. There's a long, long list. We've put them up there on the screen briefly, but it's all sorts of, apart from small amounts here and there are very large amounts. It goes on and on and on. Jacinta, will you be able to, Senator, tackle this expenditure, and should there be an audit?
Look, absolutely there should be an audit, and that's something that should occur immediately, given the cost of living crisis we're faced with, given the fact that obviously this, the closing the gap targets are never actually really closing, and they're not closing probably deliberately because there's an entire industry that relies on that gap existing. So going forward, we'll continue to be calling for an audit. And if this government refuses to agree that this is actually a good idea and initiate that, then that's what we'll be doing. That'll be what we'll be doing when we work hard to take government at the next federal election. These are the measures that I will be taking as Shadow Minister for Indigenous. Sorry, if I land the role of Minister for Indigenous Australians, then that needs absolutely to be sorted out.
James.
Well, Jacinta, I'm looking at some of these grants here, and, don't want to say that any of them is not legitimate or a good spending of money, but I'm looking at things on everything from, payments for bush tucker morning teas to a companion animal program to a crocodile hatchery to social emotional well-being programs, cultural experiences, all sorts of things here. Now, millions of dollars just on the couple of pages that I'm looking at here. What concerns me is not so much the investment in these communities, but the fact that there seems to be so little to show in terms of where any of this is actually going to closing the gap. What is the connection between some of these? And is this what really needs to be looked at, is whether or not there's enough sort of, when they're making decisions, running a rule over these applications, saying this is actually going to really genuinely do something to improve school outcomes, health outcomes, or whether, it's more the vibe of the thing, to borrow from a famous phrase.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think there's lots of different categories that pop up all the time. Look at ways that, taxpayer funds can be, funneled into different directions, and individuals can certainly be at advantage of those funds. But you're right. We need to be focusing on the issues that are most important, which are, education, which is employment, which is health. If those measures aren't being met, then I'm sorry. If there's some sort of, program that's centred around something ambiguous around culture or those sorts of things, I think we really have to look at what outcomes it's actually providing and whether it's putting it against those measures, education, health, employment, whether it's making any impact in those areas whatsoever that are actually far more important. You know, I get people come to me regularly who are concerned about programs, particularly there's some around Indigenous language revival, whether languages are being revived appropriately, what's the purpose once they are revived. But there's lots of areas that are pretty ambiguous that need to be looked at with a fine-tooth comb and under the microscope, really.
Sorry, Liz, off you go.
Oh, no worries. Jacinta, you backed Dutton's call for a boycott of Woolies as they once again begin their war on Australia Day and therefore our national pride. We know this is all about just manipulating the social conscience, the public, and how they feel about the day. Have you got any pushback for that? Because Woolworths would have us believe they themselves haven't really received any pushback. What's your feels been on the ground? Do you think people are willing to take that move? Do you think we'll see it move the needle at all?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm here at the Tamworth Country Music Festival and I've been speaking to people all over the place, and there's a lot of very proud Australians that are donning their Australian flag everywhere I go, of all different backgrounds, and they're really displeased with the way in which Woolworths has conducted itself. I mean, most people that I've spoken to have said, yeah, I used to be a loyal shopper at Woolworths. I'll no longer go there because of this continued sort of behaviour, disregarding that the majority of Australians don't want this sort of division going on. But that's generally the feeling that I'm getting on the ground. And, stopping off in country towns, I've been across the Barkly, over to the Sunshine Coast, throughout Queensland and here in New South Wales. And the feeling on the ground is that Australians are just over it. They're more worried about the cost of living. They don't want to have to deal with the corporates trying to tell them how to suck eggs, tell them how they should behave or think or feel or, feel about the country that they love. I mean, this is home. They're sick of being shamed to be proud Australians.
Well, Jacinta, Senator Price, last year you certainly spoke on behalf of so many Australians. You showed us that common sense will win. We are in a common sense revolution, I believe, and your common sense will be needed more than ever in the next 15 months, I guess, until we see you back in Parliament, in government, which is where you belong, running the show. Looking forward to it very much. Senator Jacinta Price, thanks so much for talking to us today, and have a wonderful Australia Day.